right, so for those of you who are looking for the business case, this isn't it. For those of you who are thinking of diversity and inclusion the way that perhaps many do, I'm going to invite you to go on a little journey with me in the next 7 minutes. And I want you to think about this as not just the role of someone else, but what your role is in creating an inclusive region. And I want us to move from this illusion that it's someone else's job to thinking about what our role is. So the first myth that I have to help you overcome is that inclusion is not just about race, although in many cases, most conversations end up there. So I want to invite you all on this journey, and part of this journey means that we have to acknowledge, and I want you to clap with me, that inclusion means people of color and minorities. Clap with me if you're with me. That it means women and gender. Clap with me if you're with me. That it means people with disabilities. Clap with me if you're with me. That it means people of all kinds of different backgrounds, including veterans and people of different generations. Clap if you're with me. And I want you to also welcome people of the different faiths and different sexual orientations. Clap if you're with me. And then I want you to clap for the straight white guy. Clap if you're with me. Because for a long time when we have this conversation, we think of often one demographic group. So in order to address this illusion of inclusion, we have to move on. And we have to stop just saying we're committed to diversity and inclusion, and diversity is good for the business, and inclusion, yeah, it's the right thing to do. And well, it's important for us to be a competitive region. And things like the changing demographics make it important for us to attract and retain diverse people in our region. And we also have to stop thinking about it this way. We have to evolve from it being a task force that someone else has to take on, or setting up a council, or in fact, maybe you hire a diversity leader and you think it's my job. Or in fact, you might even have a set of affinity groups, people who have like interest. And those like interests are often shared with other organizations on how they might address the needs of those communities. And we have to stop thinking that it's the job of human resources, because human resources might introduce new people, but we all make different hiring decisions. And it has to be about moving beyond just having a plan. And yeah, we have a strategy, and putting a little diversity on your webpage, or not. Or having a conference where we have a discussion, and yet we all go back to work. So I want you to think about it this way. We need to stop just saying we're trying and we're partnering with, as though it's some other organization's role to fill. And yet, sometimes we even say, we've tried that and it's still not working. So I'm going to give you a simple solution. And I want you to think of this, that the absence of inclusion often has more to do with unconscious favoritism than it has to do with discrimination or unintentional activities that lead to the lack of diversity. It means that we have to start thinking about who our friends are. It means that we have to start thinking about who we invite to the table, who we sit with. It means that we have to have the courage to learn something new and perhaps teach someone else about our culture. It means that we have to have generational friends. It means that we have to have friends of different faiths and different backgrounds, and we have to cross rivers and bridges to make new friends and build new communities. And if we all do it, because by the way, you can't say that you don't. We all do. Every race, every demographic, every faith, every generation, we all do it. And we don't do it with the intention of inclusion or exclusion. I'm suggesting that if we're not intentional, we'll end up having the same conversation every year because it's someone else's job. And so if you really want to move from the illusion of saying we're committed and all the things that we've just talked about, hiring somebody and creating a website, then we have to make a personal commitment. And I'll give you a simple task of walking out today. Make some new friends, because that's where it starts. And by the way, when you think of it this way, as, there's an illusion because we believe it's someone else's job. And by the way, oftentimes they think it's someone of color. Maybe it's a woman, and maybe it's a young person whose responsibility is to go out and attract people like them. I'm suggesting that every day we make decisions. We make decisions as to who we're going to include in our network. We make decisions as to who we're going to hire into our workplaces and who will be the suppliers and the vendors in our organization. We make decisions every day that impact our community and our region. And I'm suggesting to you that if you think it's someone else's job, it's an illusion. And if you think it's yours, you're a part of inclusion. And the way that you will know is tomorrow, if we had to come back, and I asked you to bring 5 friends from your network, from your community, from your workplace, are they like you? And then ask yourself, how are you contributing? The illusion or inclusion? Inclusion begins with you. You've been given each day to use as you will. You can waste it or use it for good. When tomorrow comes, all these great words and presentations will be gone. And in its place will be the decisions we left behind. Every single one of these initiatives requires people, and people to sustain a region. And every initiative that we want to employ to make this the greatest place for all to live, I would suggest requires people. And I hope that you're open to them being people who are slightly different in some way from you. You've been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it or use it for good. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. And in its place, the decisions you left behind. May they be inclusive, and may they support us having a sustainable region that has all kinds of people. Thank you.